So I took this apart already because I couldn't wait. This is a cathedral. Savil probably. Early 30s, but what's weird about this is it's got a slide rule dial. So you don't see that much. Cabinet is okay. The chassis is really a nightmare. There's a little damage there. It's okay. This radio is like, if you thought, Crossley was cheap or any of the others were cheap, this was like put together by like a 10-year-old. This thing is a nightmare. So for anyone who says they made them better years ago, they never saw this thing. This thing is just junk. This is kind of cool. I like this mechanism. But other than that, and they put the shiny chrome, Well, it's not chrome, it's aluminum, but, it's still pretty, whatever. You have your couple filter caps. It looks nice from the back. You've got your large, looks like a deep chassis, has a lot going on. Then the front, you have these floppy, couldn't bother to spend another few cents on a little bit bigger piece of steel to bend it over the front. This is like the cheapest of the cheap. TRF, I'm sure. What's kind of cool here is this tube. This is the original rectifier. It says to be used with Savil radio only. Now, I don't know where this radio came from. I'm sure it was from a store, that store brand or something like that. So let's go in, come on. Maybe this way. Very cheaply made. Okay, I can't get that in. So let's look underneath. So the unfortunate thing about this radio is someone's been in here and they did not do a good job on anything. Now, the way this is built is not very nice, but, you got your transformer here, a few coils, your volume control, tone control, I'm assuming. Back of it's open, only the finest quality parts. No cover on the transformer, why would you need that? This is something. Look at that. Use a wire wound resistor as a terminal strip. Why not? So, I think what the heck? Boy. So it's a cheap radio with an idiot who worked on it. Okay, here's this. This is what you never do. You never connect. Well, it's not even connected. Oh my God. Wow. So I think the only way to handle this is to start on the less molested side. Clean that up. Get that in a good place. By the way, this yellow stuff's cadmium, so, that's real healthy. And then go to the other side. I checked the transformer, just measured it, it seemed okay. But yeah, look at this. I see what he did. He swapped in this capacitor for one that's buried under there, but why not remove the old one? I don't know, it's not that hard to get to. Anyway, we're going to be cleaning this up a little bit. Another thing about this radio is I changed capacitors. The parts are normally, they say to make a solid mechanical connection, right? You just wrap it around the terminal. Well, that is not a concept to them because whoever built this just stuck them on top, put a little solder on it, and done. That was from the factory. So I'm doing it the same way because that's what they did. Okay, I'll just show you this here. I pulled this capacitor out. This is a 0.5 at 400. Guess what they replaced it with? Well, you can't really see. It is a electrolytic. You can't do that. They probably thought it said 5 microfarad. Anyway, I'm going to replace it with the correct value. Okay, I cleaned up this side. See, even though this is badly made, this is not that hard to get to be relatively neat. Now you can see what they did here. Some of the wiring, they have a resistor inside this heat shrink, or, well, sort of, going to a control. Things like that are kind of sloppy, but I'm going to try and rebuild this the way it was. I mean, just look at this punch out. They missed it, so they said, oh yeah, we'll try it again. Yeah, so anyway, I replaced these caps. These are all bypass caps over here. And that, I believe, might be a coupling. I can't really tell. I'm not sure. That goes to the, looks like it goes to the output tube. So yeah, coupling cap. So I changed that. I changed the one with the wrong value on it. And then now I got to deal with the fun part. Okay, I'm taking a look at this. I'm trying to clean it up. You can see here, I've done a lot. I know it doesn't look beautiful, but none of these capacitors are flopping. These are all in there. And they're mounted to a terminal strip, which was too much for the people that made this radio, apparently. Anyway, so I'm going through it, and I found a couple things that are interesting, and of course I don't have a schematic, so I don't really know what I'm doing, but here's the power cord coming in, right? Connects here. This here, you look at it, goes to the power switch, which is fine, right? So it also connects to this capacitor, right? This is a film capacitor. Let's take a look at the value on it. 1 microfarad? 1 microfarad as a line bypass? That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to change it to a 0.02 or 0.01 or whatever it is I have. It shouldn't matter. It's just a line bypass, but there's some weird stuff going on. And then on the other side of the line, you have this floppy capacitor flopping around. I'm going to remove that. There's no need to have it, period. Okay, let's see what happens here. 10 volts. I have the meter on the second filter. We're at 20 volts here. Let's see if I get. Oh, we're at 25 volts. I'm getting a little bit of voltage. 30 volts. 35. You think this is going to work? Remember, it's a TRF, so I don't know what it's going to get. Probably 1 or 2 local stations, if anything, if it even works. I have no idea what the V plus is on this. 75 volts.
Coverage offerings and safe.
Leaving the city 40 minutes apiece at the Lincoln and the Holland tunnels. All approaches very slow. The New Jersey bound George Washington Bridge.
We do not have a volume problem with this radio.
Where I was struggling as a...
I can't believe it's this sensitive for TRF. Really?
Greg Allen says tonight windy with periods of rain, heavy at times, possibly a thunderstorm. Little temperature change overnight with the low in the 60s.
But it all should be clearing out of here by the end of the day Saturday with a high
temperature about 70 degrees, but the temperature drops through Saturday night down to the mid-40s.
And then a change on Sunday. A chance of an early shower or two, then a mixture of clouds and sun. The high only around 50 on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Sunshine, but chilly with a high both days, 45 to 50.
Right now in town, it's 67 degrees. We got 69.
Dirty volume control.
CBS News Radio 880.
Oh, that's the low side of the band. Oh, I see.
BAL News Radio 1090 and FM 101.5.
Oh, yes. Gotta have FM.
69 at 5.
It's 1100.
Cruz tweets it makes no sense for the Senate to have leadership elections before the Georgia runoff.
I do hear a bit of a hum.
Inviting you to have a same thing, not till after December 6th. You know, they wanted to vote on leadership Wednesday to the family.
Right tonight, Vermont Place. Still working on a crash across Westchester. This is right at the heart.
Well, it kind of works. So what I did was I found that the output tube was gassy.
Which means it looks...
I stole one from another radio. I mean, look at this. It's just endless stations. Fantastic. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I've got to order that tube. It's a 47 output tube. That shouldn't be expensive. I can get one of those easily. What's kind of cool about this is this original rectifier here, globe type, and these are all globe type. It'd be kind of cool if I could get a globe type 47, although I bet that would be some stupid price. And the radio is nice, but you know, it's not a, you know, jewel of anyone's collection here. But okay, we're playing at full line voltage here. It's got a bit of a hum. I'm guessing it's designed in.
Just sprinkly to start it off. Much steadier rain.
That's our local high power station.
Charging a cell phone can be like
Oh, there's a huge spider climbing over that thing. That's cool.
after a primary series
This is
vaccination.
1010.
To getting it done. Reach out today at
That's 1020.
That's CC.
News time, 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Lori Matt.
Pretty decent for a TRF. So I'm trying to decide here what to do. There is a hum. It's not bad, but it's annoying. It's a hum. You know, the question is, was this radio designed that way? It's very possible. You know, this is early. This is probably 1931, 32. With these tubes, yeah, probably 31 or 32. So, was it designed that way? And that was just a cheap radio, and it worked well enough, and whatever. Or do we have some component here in this mess of wires that you can't access to do anything that is on its way out? The likelihood that it's down here is about zero, actually. Like there. Yeah, that's like a zero. Chances are it's either a wiring issue, which this radio is just a wiring issue in itself, or could it be one of these resistors is out of tolerance, which wouldn't surprise me because the rest were. There's two down here. One, it looks like, connects from B- to chassis, so that provides probably a bias voltage for something. I can try and look at that. Then the other one connects from B- to who knows. I can't even see where it goes. Somewhere in the... Is it the audio section? Well, if it is, that could explain something. Yeah, I think I should check those two resistors. If they're good, I'll leave them. If they're close, I'll leave them. If they're way out, I'll change them, and we'll try it again, see if it makes any difference. But in general, actually, set performs way better than I expected. The fact that it can separate 1010 and 1020, and 1020, by the way, is a distant station. It's from Pittsburgh, and that's, I don't know, 5, 6 hour, 7 hour drive. I don't know, long drive. So the fact that it's able to separate those two stations out pretty well says that despite this mess of wiring, the circuit design is not terrible. And I mean, it's a nice looking radio. So, it almost doesn't matter that it's kind of cheap. This radio was probably made by a company that lasted all of a few years, and that was it. There were a lot of companies at the beginning of the 30s, beginning of the Depression. People were, trying to get on the bandwagon for radio, and a lot of little companies came up, made, a handful of sets. A lot of them used the same cabinets. They used the same parts. These coils are the same. The transformer is generic. And made whatever they could make and closed up when things didn't go their way. I'm sure this is one of those. This is not a Zenith or Philco or even Atwater Kent. This is a generic, whoever made this. But at least I was able to tighten up some of this wiring. It's not great. It's, in my standards, this is miserable. But this is the way it was done from the factory. So it's not up to my standards, but it's up to theirs. And the radio obviously worked when it came out of the factory. So I think it's good enough. So I'm going through this radio again just to double check that I got all the resistors. And these over here, these are, the dog bone or bed resistors, body and dot for the color code. That's fine. The problem is that most of these don't seem to have anything more than one color. This one's just black. That one's just green. That one's just kind of a purple color. That one's just brown. So I don't know what the values are supposed to be. I can certainly measure them now, but it's not necessarily what we're looking for. Okay, as far as other things, there's 2 resistors down here, which are impossible to get to without taking these coils off, and I'm not going to do that. So the radio works, it just has a little bit of a hum. It's a 60 cycle hum, so it's not a power supply problem. Probably an audio section problem, which is down under this. It could be one of those resistors is off, although more likely it's something to do with the wiring. Maybe, something is a little too close to a filament line or something. But this radio, the wiring is just... I don't even know where to begin with the wiring. Jeez. I don't know who did this, but really. Good news is I'll probably never work on one of these ever again, which is fine. Anyway, I guess we'll power it up again. I changed the resistor down here. Can't really see it. It's 2. I put 2 in series. We'll power it up again. I know it's going to still have a bit of a hum, but at least maybe we'll see how it plays. I do kind of wonder, how are these grounds? They don't look that good. These grounds here. I don't know.
Slowdowns.
Here's the
continues on
Savil.
Sunrise Highway eastbound at Route 110 with a crash investigation westbound.
Maintain a healthy smile with the Democrats who are excited but still alive, and we'll reassemble our panel with more on that coming up. Until Matthew in Washington, the fastest
Longer antenna.
continues. Call today. Eat him again.
Yes, our biggest
Can say, look how much. But essentially, he told him, they'd had this 10-minute chat the day before in a crowded room,
that Trudeau should not have leaked the information about it through his office. You know, it wasn't an official bilateral engagement, and that
Cabinet's
Trudeau
okay.
had mischaracterized
Great, but
what they had said to each other in the meeting. I don't know whether that's true or not. It might well be. But then he said,
Likely, like this was a
Et sans surprise, vous tenez vos promesses. On va faire le suivi des événements
That's
qui
not
seront
doing
le
too
COP
bad
27.
here. We've
Est-ce qu'il a
got
retenu votre attention?
in case people were under the misconception that this was
will be difficult to say.
so that would not.
Encore une fois,
860.
malheureusement, trop.
So juicy, so tender, and now so spicy. At participating restaurants in Canada. I call that karma. It's justified. Engage. Staying informed gives me the power of knowledge.
Brace yourself.
really it's a nice sound.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
I don't think Justin Verlander sells
Other than
tickets.
if we're including Otani, then Otani.
So kind of a cool radio.
I'm talking.
Never seen another one like it. Probably never will see another one like it. So, for those who want to see one, this is probably it. I did polish this a little bit, just the outlines, just to make it stand out. I'm sure it was a aged brass look to begin with. Speaker cloth is original. It's got one little tear. It's okay. I'd rather have an okay original finish and regional speaker cloth, especially on a set that you don't really find this. I mean, I've never seen a cathedral with a slide rule dial. It's so weird. Anyway, this was a sign of things to come, I guess.